Hey everybody, it's Adorak, and welcome to my latest video of Disney Heroes Battle Mode. Now, for those that subscribe to my channel and have viewed my previous videos, I know it's been a long time since I've made one. It's probably about a year to the date since I actually recorded my last video. Unfortunately, at that time, as much as I enjoyed making the videos, I was losing interest in the game, and I needed to take a step back and just kind of see what Per Blue was going to do with this game and where it was headed. You know, after a few months, I finally jumped back in the game, and I started to realize that some of the changes they made kind of made it a little different than it used to be. Though it still continues to be an overload of heroes and what seems to be an endless amount of money to actually get yourself anywhere, it started to change the meta and the way that some of the arenas and coliseums were running. It broke up, obviously, the servers. It combined some of them, obviously, due to people leaving. And it made for a little more interesting type of game. So after playing for the last month or two to catch myself up, I started to get back into it, and I figured what better way than to jump back in and get into my videos since some of you still subscribe to this day. So, with that being said, for my first video and my debut for the 2020 year, I figured what better place to start than the new patch notes. Now, I do realize this came out several days ago, and it might be a little old to some of you, but I think this is a good spot to start and talk about some of the new heroes that came out, some of the changes that I might be making, and I could explain better on how you can use these heroes and where I see the meta going. Now, I have not read these notes. I didn't even look them over. I figured I'll do this on the fly, and we'll just go one by one and see what changes they're making and give you my input. So let's just jump right into it. So this is patch 1.152. It looks to me that according to the text here, that they've made some updates. Most importantly, they're introducing two heroes, Kida and Magica from DuckTales. Now, starting with Kida, obviously she seems to be coming out, let's see, during the sign-in for next February, or for February in a couple days. So you'll get her every day, you log in, you sign in, after a few days, depending on what, rank you are, you'll end up getting her. So it does say here that Kida is a frontline damage hero. So let's talk about the current meta right now before I jump into this particular hero. Now, what most people are playing these days that I've seen, or at least in my opinion, that works the best for me, is to play with 2 control, 2 support, and 1 damage. Now, that's a far difference than what it used to be. You used to have at least a tank on your team, you'd have a control, a bunch of damage, and maybe a support. But now it's gone a whole different avenue, and that's mainly because the way the heroes are coming out and the types of heroes that are coming out. Control heroes are some of the strongest in the game, and they were for a very long time. And now, more and more, people are doubling up on them. Support is obviously important. The way some of the support heroes have come out that have offered more than just healing and some other abilities they have. Support are a huge benefit to a team. So doubling up on support is not, unrealistic. And then obviously finding yourself a good damage hero to kind of finish off. Now that works really, really good in almost all scenarios of the game. Most importantly on Arena and Coliseum, but I've seen it work quite well in City Watch and, the regular campaign. So for Kida coming out as a damage hero, especially a frontliner, she definitely could fill into that meta. Most of the damage heroes in the game now that are in the meta, that usually fit in with the 2 control and the 2 support, are a frontline damage. Somebody who stands in the front of the group. Meaning they could take enough hits or they have abilities that allow them to sustain just as good as a tank can, but instead provide a lot more damage than the tank will. So Kida is going to fit just nicely into the new meta. Now, let's just see her skills to make sure. Now, her first skill is called Crystal Heal. Kida turns to Crystal, instantly healing herself. Her armor is increased, and she deals bonus fantastic damage with each basic attack. So, first of all, she's fantastic damage, at least on this skill. So that's good. That still seems to be the strongest in the game. The fact that she can self-heal is also good. So now with 2 support healing, and she could heal herself, that makes her extremely viable. Moana's another one like that. And her armor's increased as she deals more damage. So every time she attacks, she's increasing her armor. That's giving her a lot more sustain against other damaging heroes that do any sort of armor-penetrating attacks. For her second skill, Spear Block, Kida dodges an attack that deals fantastic damage, instead healing herself. So again, more fantastic damage. So she obviously has a way to dodge or mitigate damage, and then she heals herself on top of it. So again, another sustainable ability. So she's dodging attacks and healing herself. Her third, Skillful Swipe, Kida rapidly strikes at enemies in front of her, dealing damage over 2 strikes and removing their armor. So that's really nice. So she's doing attack to a cone of people in front of her, mainly since she's in the front line. She's going to hit anybody else that's in the front line. And on top of that, she's removing their armor, making them more susceptible to damage. So again, more sustainability for the whole team. Her last, well, I shouldn't say her last, but her ultimate, at least in outside the red skill, is Hard as Crystal. Kida and her allies gain energy over time. So anytime you can gain more energy by any heroes on the team to allow them to ult quicker or get their skills off faster, makes that extremely viable. So this is a really good ability. Do I think it's an ultimate, main skill? I don't know. I mean, energy over time is nice, but I don't know that it would be an ultimate. But her other skills kind of balance well with her. So from what it looks like, she's going to be pretty high tier coming out. But whether she'll sustain that, I don't know. And then her red skill, which it looks like it's coming out on servers 1 and 2 only on release, is Mask of the Warrior. So it says Spear Block also gives Kida basic damage for the rest of the wave. Skillful Swipe deals bonus damage and removes reality. So Spear Block, which we said before, dodges an attack that deals fantastic damage instead of healing herself, now also gives Kida basic damage for the rest of the wave. So she'll increase damage with that. Her Skillful Swipe deals bonus damage and removes reality. Now, if we look at Skillful Swipe, we said that was the rapid strike that she does in front of her that deals damage over 2 strikes and removes armor. Well, now it also removes reality. So now it's removing all sorts of mitigation from the opponent team. So she's going to take off anything that's going to help your other, heroes attack that do normal damage, and she's going to help herself and anyone else that does fantastic damage. Because remember, reality is the mitigation to fantastic damage, and armor is the mitigation to normal damage. So she kind of comes with a twofer there. So the red skill is going to be real nice and definitely make her a lot stronger once she gets that. Now, it does look like she has friendships with Hercules and Jasmine. So, again, not bad. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look at those friendship skills and see what that's actually going to do. But so far, so good. Now, for the second hero they released, Magica De Spell from DuckTales. So she's a backline control character. So right out the gate, there you go, control. So she also fits into the current meta. We said 2 control, 2 support, and a damage, and the damage being a frontliner. So both of these are still molding the meta. So after this patch, I don't think you're going to see much of a change as far as how people are playing. I think they're going to continue to do 2 support, 2 control, and a damage, because these two fit nicely right in that group. Now, Magica's first spell, Wand Zap, she channels a spell on the most wanted enemy. So that's in quotes, so it must be a target she does. Stunning them until she runs out of energy. Enemies between Magica and the most wanted enemy are dealt damage per second while she's using Wand Zap. So, obviously she's going to focus someone, and she's going to mark them, and I'm guessing most wanted. All right, it doesn't really say. I'm guessing that's her. Is that her passive? I'm just trying to look ahead here on the most wanted. I don't see. We'll keep reading. But obviously, she must target someone as the most wanted, and then she stuns them until she runs out of energy. So that's really good and going to work really well if we just scroll up with Kida, because remember, one of Kida's abilities is, her ultimate is, she gives her allies energy over time. So if you match these two together, she's going to continue to Wand Zap one person and stun them every time until she runs out. So if you can keep, Magica's energy up, she's going to keep stunning, and that really takes and locks out somebody for the whole match. And then it says enemies between Magica and that individual enemy are dealt damage per second while she's using Wand Zap. So now she's doing damage, so she's not completely useless for the rest of the match, because obviously with her holding someone out is great, but is she doing anything elsewhere? Well, she is. She's attacking anyone in between. And because she is a control hero, that kind of gives her a little added benefit. Her next ability, Shadow Cast. Magica's shadow appears next to the enemy with the most energy, stealing a portion of their energy and removing a portion of their armor. Okay, so she has a drain. So she's going to drain off energy from someone else, and she's going to continue to remove armor. So also, this works with Kida. Kida has an ability, her red skill, which also removes armor. I'm sorry, that's her regular skill, removes armor. So on top of this, this is extra armor reduction, which really is going to work excellent against teams that do normal damage. And have high armor. So that's good. Now for the third skill, Under a spell, Magica casts a spell dealing damage and cursing all enemies. Okay, so it's a curse. That's great. She does damage, and obviously that curse over everyone, I guess, does continuous damage, or does that curse do something else? I don't know. It's not specific there. So, curse is a curse. So, I'm guessing, you know, it's just more of her just AoE spell. So that's cool. Next, Stunning Surprise. While being damaged by Wand Zap, enemies' attack speed and movement are reduced. So, okay, so I don't see that being a benefit to the one that's most wanted, because if they're stunned, what does it matter if their attack speed and movement is reduced if they're stunned? But I think what this is saying here, this will obviously hurt the person or heroes that are in between the most wanted, because it does say back up at Wand Zap that she's doing damage to anybody in between the most wanted and her. So I think that would, you know, obviously help to control the person in between by attack speed and movement speed, because there's really no reason to worry about reducing their attack speed or movement speed if they're stunned the whole time. So I'm guessing that's where the benefit of that comes. I'm guessing this is her red skill. Magica Mayhem. Whenever an enemy is cursed from any source, Magica gains energy. Enemies affected by Shadowcast are also cursed. Okay, so more on the curse. So we already know that she drains someone with Shadowcast, so she'll now apply the same curse she does with Under a Spell. And whenever any enemy is cursed by any sort, so if you put her in with anybody who does curses, she's going to gain energy, which we said at the beginning, if you can keep Magica's energy high, she's going to help hold down that individual that she's zapping and stunning, so that really locks out one of your enemy's heroes. So that's really beneficial. So yeah, definitely seems really good, and most definitely is going to work with Kida quite well. Her friendships are with Megavolt and Jafar. Again, have to see a little bit more on that. Okay, so both of these heroes look really interesting. Definitely see them working in the current meta, and probably excellent heroes at the start. We'll see if they can sustain once it kind of gets out there a little more and I test them, but so far so good. So other improvements, they changed the way the arrival delay sabotage option visuals in Guild War to eliminate the advantage of the defending team when popping in. Okay, so that just basically means when you're doing an actual Guild War and they're coming into the scene, there's no delay, so your guys aren't getting killed before they actually join. So that's good. Defending heroes now walk onto the stage instead of suddenly popping in, and the attacking team will no longer walk to the other side of the empty screen and thus directly into the defending team's attack space. So that's good. They're just evening that out so nobody gets an advantage in that. So I guess that's kind of cool. If you really have a strong team, you probably never even noticed it. Some bug fixes, crashes during games, tutorial, fixed an issue where some players were able to see Diamond Quest. Okay, so these are just like basic. Fixed an issue with Stitch's hero chip was appearing, so nothing really crazy there. New hero locations and content adjustments. Heroes will not appear in shops until they refresh. Okay, so here's what they're doing across the servers. So servers 1 through 15 obviously get the 2 new heroes. Magic is only going to be available via the diamond crates. Okay. And existing heroes, Launchpad McQuack will be available in the Elite campaign. Okay, so if you don't have Launchpad, you can now get him in the Elite campaigns. So that's cool if he's still sitting in your unavailables. For servers 16 through 17, again, Magica through Diamond Crates, Oogie Boogie will now be available to you through the Elite campaign. And same thing, Launchpad will be available in Elite. And finally, oh no, I shouldn't say finally, for server 18, Captain Hook will now be available along with Oogie Boogie. And Megavolt will also be available in the Elite campaign. So you're finally getting Megavolt, Oogie Boogie, and Captain Hook. So that's good. 19 through 20. This is good for you. Randall Boggs, which is probably one of the best damaging heroes in the game right now, is now available through the Diamond Crate. So if you are on server 19 through 20, I would recommend getting Randall as soon as possible. Captain Hook will only be available in Elite campaigns. Oogie Boogie will be available in Elite. And Miss Piggy will now be in Elite. So out of those, you really want to go after Randall Boggs. For servers 21 through 22, Jafar will be available in Diamond Crates. Beast in Elite. Huey, Dewey, and Louie will be available in Elite. And Bo Peep will be available in Elite. Okay, so out of those are a lot of good heroes there. I would say if your servers 21 through 22, I would go for Jafar. Very strong hero in the game. Beast is also strong. So those would be my top two. Bo Peep is always good. She was good when she came out. She's still pretty good, but starting to get, fade off a little bit. But for Coliseum and you're trying to build 3 teams, Bo Peep is definitely top tier. So, Jafar, Beast, Bo Peep would be my go-to. But for Arena, definitely Jafar. So that kind of wraps up the patch. So it wasn't really a big patch, but hopefully this gave you some input as to how approach these, how to approach these new heroes. So I hope you enjoyed. It's good to, finally be back. I hope you like my videos, and if you do, please subscribe and watch for my upcoming ones. I think my next video is going to be a little breakdown on the teams that are out there. So what I'm going to do now that they've kind of converted the servers down and they've merged them together, I'm going to release, I think for my first video, some of the top meta teams that you can build. I won't repeat heroes in each of the teams. So what I mean is I'll give you like 3 teams from each of the server groups. So we'll do servers, 1 through 15. I'll do through 16 and on. Just so I know, obviously you guys have certain heroes available, and it's always questioned to me is like who to use on different servers because you don't have access to all the heroes. And what I'll do is I'll give you 3 teams from each of the server groups that you can build that will work with the current heroes that you have available to you. And I won't repeat any of the heroes in them. So it should give you a good amount of teams to build, regardless of who you have, and at least give you an idea who to go for. So watch for that on my next video. That'll be coming out in February. Again, thank you so much for my subscribers. Please subscribe if you want to follow me. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram, Twitch. I should down in the left-hand corner. You should be able to see my handles there. And look forward to my next video. Have a good night.